Hello, I'm Elle Edwards, the Mindset Geek from GoToElle.com, and welcome back. Now, in today's episode, we are talking about you getting stuff done. If you've already seen the Mindset Minute, I forgot what it was called for a moment. If you've already watched today's or listened to today's Mindset Minute, you will have heard me remind you that done is better than perfect. And that is the theme for today's podcast episode as well. We're going to dig into that a little bit more, unpack what that might look like, maybe deal with some of the excuses that are going to crop up in your head when you hear me say those words. Done is better than perfect. Now, if you're one of these people that's been around in this entrepreneurial world a little while, you will have come across this idea before. Seth Godin made it really popular. One of his books, I forget the name of which one it was now, but he was on about shipping quickly. So putting imperfect, not necessarily imperfect as in like not working products out there, but the first version, the first iteration of products and projects. And I got a feeling as I'm saying that Seth Godin, that might not be Seth Godin, that might be somebody else. If you know who said that first, who in our world first introduced us to that idea, please do let me know. Pop a comment if you're watching this somewhere where comments are available. But anyway, it's a well-known model now, is you get an idea going and then you put it out there into the world, because it's only when actual real human beings interact with your stuff that you can see, well, okay, that bit works and maybe that bit needs a bit of work more, and we tweak and adjust as we go, and then you iterate. And it's a really well-known concept. It's not something that's necessarily going to be new to you. However, maybe you like the idea on an academic level. You can say, well, yeah, okay, Elle, that's a really good idea in principle. I like the idea. I will give lip service to that idea, but please don't make me share things that are not quite ready or done yet. Now, okay, you've heard me tell you before, if you've been around a little while, you will have heard me tell you that there is no way I would let anybody read the first draft of any of my books. First drafts are for your eyes only. And if you are playing along with us in November and writing your first draft in a month, I am not suggesting that that first draft needs to be out there and ready to share with the world. That's not what I'm talking about. However, in order to get that first draft written, it needs to be done. And it's that reminder within the context of whatever project you're working on that getting it done is far more important than getting it perfect. Now, we will dig later on, I think it's next week, we're going to dig into this idea of writing versus editing and reminding you that, when you're writing, you're writing. When you're editing, you're editing. Those are two completely different tasks. So we will talk about that a little bit more in future episodes. So that's a quick spoiler alert or a quick reminder if you're going to be following along with the series. I've got something to look forward to there. But it bears mentioning right now, they are two different skills. So I'm not talking about putting work out there in an unedited form. But what I am talking about is reminding you to write. Your job, particularly if you're going to get a book written in a month, your job is to get your bum in the seat, get those words off your fingers onto the screen. I'm going to assume that most people following along are going to be writing their books using a computer of some kind, or maybe, you might do it on your tablet, I suppose. I haven't met many writers yet who write full drafts using pen and paper. Planning, great. Writing full drafts, not so much. However, if that's your process, that's absolutely fine. I'm not going to criticise that. But I'm going to assume that you are going to be writing using keyboard on fingers. And when you are writing, when you're interacting and getting your words, your ideas, your stories, whatever that looks like, out into the world and onto the screen, done is better than perfect. We are not asking for you to create literary masterpieces with every single sentence that you construct. Believe it or not, that's not what we need you to do. We just need you to show up and do the work. And yes, there will be mistakes. Anybody who's watched more than one or two of these episodes will have heard me stumble over my words. Now, if you're one of the very small handful of people who's been listening right back since episode 1, I salute you and will give you a gold star. But you might remember right back then I mentioned that, okay, I'm going to do these every day. They are going to be put out there during the summer holidays. And yes, it's a little bit crazy because I have 3 children, etc., etc. But I wanted to do it as an experiment and just to show up and do it. And it's not heavily edited. In fact, it's not edited at all. I record it, I chop the beginning and the end off. So at the very beginning, the bit when you're not looking at the camera, you're looking over there somewhere, and then you are looking at the camera, that bit gets chopped off. And at the end, when I press stop on the video, that bit gets chopped off. That is the full extent of the editing that goes on with these episodes, with one exception. There was one episode, I think last week, where I completely lost my train of thought and I had to just pause and then and then regroup. And so I did. That was literally, we're now on episode 70, something like that. One episode out of 70 I've stopped, and all I did then was chop and restart. So stumbling over words, you'll have seen it happen. And I do think that's actually a really great example of done being better than perfect, particularly if you're the kind of person who maybe uses perfection as a bit of a procrastination technique. Because if we wait until everything is lined up and everything is perfect, the chances are you're never going to get it done. I know for myself, if I'd have waited until I had the time and the processes and the inclination to get everything neat and correct and systematized and all the dots crossed and the I's, T's crossed and the I's dotted. Yeah, that's the way around. If I'd have waited until everything was perfect, we wouldn't be on episode 70. We would be lucky if we'd have done maybe 2 episodes. And so that's the reminder I have for you today, as you prepare, as you get ready, as you guard yourself and brace yourself ready to write your book or whatever project you're engaging in. Done is better than perfect. And I feel like I should mention, no, I'm not suggesting, like I've already mentioned, I'm not saying you should put subpar work out there. I'm not suggesting that you should release a manuscript full of typos and spelling mistakes and grammatical errors out into the world. Amazon has made the barrier to entry really low now. Self-publishing, it's not called vanity publishing anymore. We call it indie publishing. It hasn't got the same stigma that it did perhaps, 5 or 10 years ago. You and I can write books and publish books and be publishers and create really great work. The problem with the barrier to entry being low is there's some rubbish out there as well. And I do not want you to be sharing rubbish with the world. So please do not take done is better than perfect as me saying, just release any old rubbish. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is show up, do the work. And yes, editing is a different process afterwards. But when it comes to writing, show up, do it, get those words out there. And as ever, of course, take this within the context of whatever project you're working on. If you've been following along and you're not writing specifically, this will have a context within your work as well. So just tweak that advice slightly, but done is always better than perfect. But if you are getting ready to write a book, if you're excited for NaNoWriMo, whether you're writing fiction or non-fiction, you just want to use the energy of November to get your book done, I am here to help. Go to rentaboss.uk and I'd be excited for you to join the group of fellow writers, because anybody who writes is a writer, I'm just saying, to join your group of fellow writers to get your book written in November. In the meantime, thank you for watching, smile, have yourself a delightful day. I've been Elle from GoToElle.com. Take care.